Okay, this is a Gemini 34 or 105 MC in metric. It is a catamaran sailboat, and what that means is there are two hulls, one here and one there, and it's clear all the way through. Why is it a catamaran? Because it makes it very stable. This is a traditional monohull, we call it, and notice there's only one hull, so it will rock more. However, there are a lot of differences in sailing, but I'm not going to get into that right now. So our boat is slipped right now. It's parked in a slip. There's what's called a finger going down to the boat on either side, and you can see the finger on this side. Okay, this object right here is what we call a dock box. Has a bunch of junk in it I use for cleaning the boat. And so, speaking of sides, okay, when talking about a boat, we talk about sides, not right and left, but port and starboard. So as I go to the rear of the boat, we'll take a look. So the left side of the boat, facing this way, is called port. Okay, how do I know port from starboard, which is the other side? Port has 4 letters. So does left. Port and left, 4 letters. So that's how you can tell. All right. So we're going to board or get on the boat. We call that boarding. So we'll step aboard. We're stepping aboard on which side? Port side. Okay. And then on the starboard side, we have over here. And this would be the starboard side. So starting at the rear of the boat, several things to notice. Well, actually climbing on board, there's several things to notice. See how there's like a bunch of plastic and other things? It is best to always grab stainless steel. Do not grab plastic. Bad idea almost always. Okay, so as we climb onto the rear of the boat, okay, so we're standing on the starboard or right side, and the very back of the boat area here is called the stern. The front of the boat, way up there, is the bow. But this boat, because it's a catamaran, has 2 bows. Okay? Because there are 2 hulls. So here is the starboard, and here is the port. Okay, so when I refer to the port bow, I'm talking about this one. And when I'm referring to the starboard bow, I'm talking about this one. Most boats, like this one, just have a single bow, so there's no need to distinguish them. So the directions, so that's a place. The bow is up front. The bow of the boat has a seat, but the direction going towards the front of the boat is called fore, and the direction this way going aft. So you've got the stern at the aft end, and you've got the bow at the fore end. All right, looking more on the back here, or the aft, we have our dinghy. Dinghy is hung up on what's called davits, and by releasing that line slowly, the dinghy is then dropped into the water. Okay, that's another whole thing. Now, back here, there's a compartment right here called the lazarette. And again, that's another one of those words. I'm only going to use words that you'll probably hear a lot. So here's the lazarette. To get in, you put your fingers in, lift and turn, and there's another one over here. Lift and turn. Okay, and you lift it up, and voila. This particular lazarette has all the dinghy equipment, life jackets and so on. Okay, the other lazarette has snorkeling equipment, stuff like that. It's a owner's choice. Okay, so proceeding to the rear area where you hang out, this is called a cockpit. One of the advantages of a catamaran is the cockpit is very large and roomy. Okay. The front of the cockpit is what we call the helm or steering station. Helm. With all the controls and instruments. We'll get to all that later. Alright, proceeding forward, this object right here is called the winch. That is used in sailing. Again, we'll get to that. We'll go forward and look at some of the things up here. Again, this is the foredeck. Okay, and I am on the starboard side right now. Port side's over there. Okay, this particular locker here that's open, so I was doing stuff, is a sail locker. You can keep sails in here and other junk like we do. But I'm going to close it. And to close a locker, it's kind of the reverse. Turn and push down. Okay, now, a few things up front. A few things to know about. Alright, so here we have this great big old thing going up into the sky. That's called the mast. And on the mast is this big sail, and that's called the mainsail, or the mainsail. We have various lines and winches, we'll get into that. Over here, further forward, is that anchor and anchor locker. There's a bunch of line in there to use for anchoring. This boat has two forward sails. The first forward sail is most commonly known as a jib, and it goes all the way up to the top at an angle. Okay, don't get dizzy. On this boat, this particular jib is known as a Genoa. Okay, and then moving over to the other side, we have a special sail. It's not always up, called a screecher. It's used for speed and low winds. Screecher. Jib and mainsail. Okay. Other things of note up here to know: these stainless steel lines holding the mast sturdy are called stays. It makes the mast stay in place. Or shrouds. The objects separating are called spreaders because they spread the lines across. Spreaders. Okay? So we got a mainsail, we've got a shroud and spreader, we've got a jib or Genoa, and a screecher sail. Okay? These particular sails on the front are on what's called a furler. That's the object right there known as a Furlex. That's the brand name. Also, this one is too. Why? That's how they get wrapped up so that they can be stored safely away. All right, that's it for the exterior.